There's something women do that most men completely misunderstand. It's subtle, quiet, almost invisible unless you've lived long enough, or lost enough, to recognize it. Women don't test you because they're playing games. They test you because they want to know who you truly are when the masks come off. Not the version of you that shows up on the first date. Not the version you present online. Not the version you pretend to be when you're trying to impress her. They want to know the man beneath all of that, your emotional strength, your discipline, your self-respect, your confidence under pressure. And so they create small challenges. Little shifts. Silent moments. Situations where your reaction tells the truth more accurately than your words ever could. Welcome to the channel, Stoic Love Wisdom. This is where lessons about love will help you better understand this complex emotion. Today, I'm going to reveal to you 6 ways women test you. And what these tests really say about your man. Be prepared because the secrets and insights you are about to discover may make you look back at yourself and the relationships around you. Before starting, find a quiet space, put on your headphones and relax. Let your mind completely immerse in these shares and enjoy every wonderful moment. Are you ready to discover new things about love? Let's start this journey with us right now. Number 1. She pushes your emotions up and down to see if you can stay centered. One of the strongest signs a woman is testing you, without ever admitting it, is when she creates emotional fluctuations around you. One day she's warm, soft, receptive. The next day she seems distant, colder, harder to read. It's not because she's unstable. And it's not because she's playing childish games. It's because she wants to see something that matters deeply to her. Can you remain emotionally steady when her energy changes? Or do you lose your balance the moment she shifts? Most men fail this test without even knowing it. A woman isn't testing you for fun, she's testing you for safety. Women are attracted to men who can hold their center, not just when things are easy, but when emotions move unpredictably. And her emotional shifts are one of the most natural ways for her to see who you really are beneath your composure. A man can pretend confidence when everything is stable. But her emotional waves reveal the truth. Let me tell you something only life experience teaches you. Women don't fall for the man who reacts. Women fall for the man who remains unmoved in the storm. Not cold. Not distant. Just grounded. Because groundedness is what makes her feel safe. When she becomes slightly colder, she's not pulling away from you, she's pulling away from her own fear. She wants to know. Does he get insecure too easily? Does he panic if I'm not constantly warm? Does he think I owe him consistency before I feel safe? Is he emotionally dependent on me? Does he lose himself the moment my energy changes? These questions are silent, but they live in every woman's instinct. A woman tests you in this way because emotional stability is not a luxury for her, it is essential. A man's emotions affect her nervous system, her sense of safety, her ability to relax into her feminine. She cannot open to a man who collapses when she shifts. So what exactly does this emotional test look like? It looks like her texting slower than yesterday. Her appearing less affectionate for a moment. Her taking a step back to observe you. Her acting slightly more neutral. Her being warm one day, reserved the next. Her going quiet to feel your energy. Her becoming playful, then suddenly serious. Not because she's manipulating you. But because she's trying to see your emotional range. Women feel attraction based on how a man makes them feel, and nothing makes a woman feel safer than a man who doesn't get rattled by temporary emotional shifts. The Stoic man understands this. He doesn't chase when she pulls back. He doesn't demand reassurance. He doesn't spiral into insecurity. He doesn't try to force her warmth. He doesn't punish her with silence. He simply remains centered. He knows her emotional changes don't define him. He knows her testing isn't rejection. He knows her distance isn't disrespect. He knows she isn't being cold, she's being cautious. And because he knows all of this, he stays steady. Steady in tone. Steady in behavior. Steady in self-respect. Steady in presence. A woman feels a man's emotional center instantly. When he stays grounded, she relaxes. When he panics, she withdraws. I've seen countless men destroy connections with their reactivity, their neediness, their rush for control. And I've seen a few rare men, calm, composed, emotionally disciplined, turn that same test into deeper attraction. Why? Because when she pushes emotional waves toward you and you don't drown, she realizes you're not just interested, you're capable. Capable of handling her complexity. Capable of creating safety. Capable of leading the emotional tone. Capable of being the man she can trust. And that's when she stops testing. And starts opening. Because emotional steadiness isn't just attractive to a woman. It's irresistible. Love is not only about happy moments, but also about challenges that help us realize our inner strength. It is through difficulties that we learn patience, tolerance, and how to love without losing ourselves. This is also the reason why I share stories here, so that you can find calmness and wisdom in your journey of love. If you feel these words touch you, please take a second to click like to spread this message. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click subscribe with the notification bell, to always be the first to receive new shares. Don't forget to leave a comment below, share your feelings or a lesson you learned after listening to this story. Each line you share is a way for us to connect and accompany each other. Now, get ready, because the next part will bring you even deeper insights. Number 2. She delays, declines softly, or responds slowly to see how you handle pressure. One of the most common yet misunderstood ways women test men is through delayed responses, subtle rejection, or pulling back just slightly, not enough to push you away, but enough to see how you react. It's a psychological test that reveals more about your character than anything you say. Most men fail this test instantly. They panic. They chase harder. They double text. They seek validation. They pressure her for answers. They let insecurity take the wheel. But an experienced man, a grounded man, understands something deeper. A woman delays not to punish you, but to observe your emotional discipline. Because here's the truth. A woman doesn't test the men she doesn't care about. She tests the ones she might actually let into her life. And delaying or soft declining is her way of asking. Is he impatient? Is he desperate? Does he crumble without attention? Does he assume the worst immediately? Does he anchor himself, or does he lose himself? Women don't consciously think through all of this, but emotionally, they feel it strongly. Your reaction reveals your inner strength more clearly than any words or actions. Let's break down what these soft tests look like. She replies slower than usual. Not ignoring you, just slower. She wants to see if you stay calm, or if your insecurity flares instantly. She doesn't immediately accept your invitation. She might say, "Let me check. Maybe another time." Or simply, "I'm not sure yet." She's waiting to see. Do you react? Or do you remain composed? She becomes slightly distant for a day or two. Not disappearing. Just pulling back enough to see whether you chase or stay centered. She gives a subtle no to something small. Not because she means it, but because she wants to check your emotional grounding. This is where the Stoic man stands apart from the rest. You see, women don't want a man who collapses when things don't go his way. They want a man who remains calm, steady, and emotionally sovereign, no matter the variables. Because if a man can't handle a delayed text, how will he handle real life? stress, pressure, arguments, unexpected changes, her emotional waves, her vulnerability, her bad days. A man who gets triggered easily becomes emotionally dangerous to a woman. Not physically, but psychologically. She needs to know that you are not controlled by her availability. That you don't measure your worth by her replies. That you don't depend on her attention to feel stable. The Stoic man embodies this. He doesn't reward her distance with anxiety. He doesn't flood her phone with desperation. He doesn't pressure her for reassurance. He doesn't interpret every delayed reply as rejection. He gives space when space is given. He stays warm, but not needy. Interested, but not chasing. Present, but not demanding. Stable, but not cold. That balance is rare, and powerfully attractive. A woman tests a man to see this exact thing. Does he remain himself even when she shifts? Or does he change based on her mood? Your response determines everything. If you get insecure, she pulls away. If you get angry, she closes emotionally. If you panic, she loses respect. But if you stay composed, if you respond calmly, slowly, without pressure, something shifts inside her. She begins to trust your emotional leadership. She sees strength, not neediness. She sees confidence, not anxiety. She sees a man, not a boy. And that is when the attraction deepens. Because the moment she realizes you are unshakable, she stops testing and starts investing. Number 3. She tries to make you slightly jealous to see how confident you really are. One of the most misunderstood ways women test men is through subtle jealousy triggers. Not major ones, not dramatic ones, just small moments meant to reveal your level of confidence and emotional control. A woman who is interested in you but unsure about your strength will intentionally create situations that test your reaction. Talking to another guy casually. Laughing a bit louder than usual. Mentioning someone who texted her. Posting a picture where she looks particularly attractive. Dropping a vague comment like, "Someone asked me out today." Most men overreact. They get angry. They get insecure. They tense up, withdraw, or try to compete. Some even accuse her of playing games. But the man who has truly lived, the man grounded in his masculine center, knows something essential. A woman's mild jealousy tests are not about other men. They're about you. Your strength. Your composure. Your self-worth. You see, women don't test to manipulate. They test to evaluate. To feel safe. To understand your emotional maturity. Because here's the truth. A woman cannot relax into a man who crumbles at the smallest sign of competition. She doesn't want a man who fears other men. She wants a man who knows his value so thoroughly that competition simply doesn't exist in his mind. Let me tell you something only the experienced man understands. Jealousy reveals a man's relationship with himself. If you overreact, it means you lack internal stability. If you accuse her, it means you're projecting insecurity. If you chase harder, it means you're driven by fear. If you shut down, it means you're emotionally fragile. But if you stay grounded, unbothered, calm, still warm, still centered, still yourself, she feels it. And that's when the test ends. A woman will only attempt to make you jealous in small ways if she likes you and wants to understand. Is he secure in himself? Does he trust his own value? Is he emotionally mature? Can he handle pressure without losing control? Will he remain masculine even when challenged? This is why the Stoic approach is so powerful. The Stoic man, the grounded man, the emotionally sovereign man, he does not react from fear. He remains composed. He doesn't need to prove himself. He doesn't compete. He doesn't interrogate. He doesn't show insecurity. His response is steady, confident, subtle. A small smile. A relaxed tone. A calm presence. A simple shift of his posture that says, "I know who I am." Because strength doesn't need to be expressed. It is felt. Women test jealousy for one reason. To see whether you lead with ego or with presence. The man of ego gets defensive. The man of insecurity overreacts. But the man of presence, he doesn't flinch. He knows that her attraction to him isn't threatened by another man. He knows that her attention returning to him is natural, not forced. He knows that maintaining composure is the true display of strength. This is the paradox. When you do not react, you become more attractive. When you react emotionally, you confirm her doubts. Your emotional stability is the most important factor in whether she chooses you or distances herself. A woman is drawn to the man who remains centered, no matter what happens around him. Because that is the man who can truly protect her, not with dominance, but with stability. So the next time she tries to make you slightly jealous, remember. She's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to see you. See your strength. See your self-control. See your emotional discipline. See the man behind the reaction. And the man who stays unshaken. That's the man she wants to follow. At this point, you may have seen yourself in the stories above, sometimes weak, sometimes strong, and sometimes not knowing what to do in love. But it is those moments that make us real and worthy of respect. If you feel the same, please click like to let me know you are here, accompanying me. And if you haven't clicked subscribe yet, don't hesitate, because every day I will share more stories and new lessons, to help you have a calmer view of love. Now, let's move on to the final part, where we will touch on deeper things. Number 4. She asks you psychological questions to measure your character, not your answers. One of the most powerful and overlooked ways women test men is through what I call psychological questions, questions that seem innocent on the surface, but are designed to reveal the deeper layers of who you are. These aren't questions about facts. They're questions about you. About your emotional maturity. Your values. Your discipline. Your boundaries. Your self-worth. Your past. Your patterns. Your intentions. A woman who tests you this way isn't being manipulative. She's being cautious. She wants to understand the man behind the charm, the words, the confidence, the man you become when life applies pressure. Women don't ask these questions randomly. They ask them because they're trying to answer one thing. Is he the kind of man I can trust emotionally? And trust me, she already knows what your answers reveal before you answer them. Here are examples of psychological questions women ask when they're evaluating you. Do you talk to a lot of girls? Why did your last relationship end? Are you someone who gets bored easily? Do you fall in love fast? Are you close with your ex? Do you like attention? Are you someone who stays calm during arguments? What are you looking for in a woman? These questions aren't about curiosity. They're about calibration. A woman asks not to get information, but to read your reaction to the question. Does your tone shift? Do you become defensive? Do you over-explain? Do you get nervous? Do you lie? Do you get irritated? Do you brag? Do you try to impress her with the right answer? Everything you do communicates something deeper. The inexperienced man tries too hard. He tries to give the perfect answer. He tries to prove he's a good guy. He tries to win her approval. He adapts his personality to what he thinks she wants. But women can see through that instantly. The grounded man, the stoic man, approaches these moments differently. He doesn't defend himself. He doesn't explain excessively. He doesn't get emotional. He doesn't try to be perfect. He simply responds with calm, concise honesty. Because he understands the deeper truth. Women aren't looking for the perfect answer. They're looking for the root of your behavior. A Stoic man gives her emotional clarity, not emotional chaos. When she asks about your past, she's asking, does he blame others or take responsibility? When she asks if you talk to many women, she's asking, is he disciplined with his attention? When she asks what you want, she's asking, does he have direction, or is he drifting? When she asks if you get angry easily, she's asking, is my heart safe with him? Because for a woman, your emotional discipline matters more than your looks, money, height, status, or words. And nothing reveals your emotional discipline faster than how you handle uncomfortable questions. A woman tests you this way because she needs to see the real you, not the version you present, but the version that surfaces under emotional pressure. Let me tell you something from experience. A woman will only ask psychological questions to the men she sees potential in. If she doesn't care about you, she doesn't evaluate you. Her questions mean she's considering you. She's assessing compatibility. She's protecting her heart before offering it. The Stoic man understands this isn't the time to posture. It's the time to show calmness, maturity, boundaries, self-awareness, accountability, direction. Because emotional certainty is what makes a woman relax. When she feels you are honest, composed, responsible, and anchored in yourself, she naturally begins to trust you. And when she trusts you, she stops testing you. She opens. She softens. She reveals herself. Because she feels safe. Number 5. She creates distance to see if you chase her or stay in your masculine center. One of the most revealing ways women test men happens when she suddenly creates a little distance, not enough to end things, but enough to see what you'll do with the space. Women don't create distance because they're losing interest. In fact, the opposite is often true. Women create distance when they begin to care. Because caring makes them vulnerable, and vulnerability makes them cautious. The moment a woman starts to feel something real, she instinctively steps back, just a little, to observe your response, not through your words, but through your behavior. Let me tell you something only experience teaches you. A woman isn't testing the distance itself. She's testing your reaction to the distance. Most men fail this test immediately. They panic. They assume the worst. They blow up her phone. They demand answers. They chase harder. They try to fix something that wasn't broken. They break their own masculine frame. But a grounded man, a Stoic man, understands something deeper. Her distance is not a threat, it's an evaluation. She wants to see. Does he lose emotional control? Is he secure in himself? Does he rely on my attention to feel validated? Does he stay centered no matter what? Does he respect my space? Can he remain calm in uncertainty? These questions are silent, but powerful. A woman's distance is her way of saying, let me see who you become when you don't have immediate access to me. This is where the man who lacks emotional discipline collapses. And this is where the Stoic man shines. He doesn't assume she's leaving. He doesn't force closeness. He doesn't become anxious. He doesn't try to buy her affection. He doesn't punish her with passive aggression. He doesn't act out of fear. He simply remains himself. Unmoved. Steady. Calm. Present. Still warm, but never chasing. Because a man who truly knows his value does not fear distance. He respects it. He understands it. He remains grounded through it. This reaction tells her everything she needs to know. Can this man hold the emotional space of a relationship? Or will he collapse under uncertainty? And here's the psychology behind her behavior. A woman's emotional system works differently from a man's. When she feels too much too fast, she instinctively steps back to regulate. She needs a moment to breathe. To think. To process. To make sure her attraction for you isn't blinding her judgment. Distance doesn't mean she's slipping away. It means she's trying to understand herself. And how you respond determines whether she returns stronger. Or pulls away completely. The inexperienced man interprets her space as rejection. The insecure man interprets it as abandonment. But the Stoic man interprets it correctly. As a moment for her to observe his emotional strength. He uses this time wisely. He focuses on his life. He stays productive. He remains confident. He doesn't rush. He doesn't worry. He doesn't wait by the phone. He doesn't change his energy depending on hers. And because of this, she returns. Not because he chased. But because he remained unshaken. A man who stays calm in her distance becomes the man she trusts. And the man she trusts becomes the man she chooses. So if she suddenly steps back, don't panic. Don't chase. Don't push. Just stand where you are, firmly. Because if the connection is real, she's not watching the distance. She's watching you. Number 6. She tests your boundaries to see if you have a spine, or if you're just trying to please her. One of the deepest, most revealing tests women use, often without realizing it, is when she gently pushes your boundaries. Not aggressively. Not disrespectfully. Just enough to see who you are beneath the surface. A man with self-respect. Or a man desperate to be liked. This test shows up in small, subtle behaviors. She may arrive late just to see how you respond. Tease you in a way that's slightly too far. Make a request that's a little unreasonable. Push past your schedule to see if you fold. Say something provocative to challenge your calm. Try to influence your decisions. Cross a small line to gauge your reaction. She's not doing this to dominate you. She's doing it to understand you. Because here's a truth most men never learn. A woman cannot respect a man who doesn't respect himself. And she cannot love a man she doesn't respect. So she tests, gently, instinctively, to see if you hold your ground when pressured. Not with anger. Not with ego. Just with calm, masculine firmness. Let me tell you something only experience can teach. Women test boundaries to find leadership, not weakness. When she pushes your limits, she wants to see. Does he have structure? Does he tolerate disrespect? Does he lose control? Does he bend too easily? Is he afraid of upsetting me? Does he maintain his standards? Can he handle tension without collapsing? A man who can't set boundaries is not attractive, he's unsafe. Because if a man can't lead himself, he can't lead a relationship. Here's what happens with most men. She's late, he gets angry or anxious. She teases him too far, he laughs nervously. She makes an unreasonable request, he agrees to avoid conflict. She pushes a limit, he pretends not to notice. Every one of these reactions tells her the same thing. This man values my approval more than he values himself. And once she feels that, attraction begins to fade. Not because she's cruel. But because feminine energy cannot trust or relax into a man who lacks a backbone. But then there is the Stoic man. The grounded man. The man whose boundaries are made not of aggression, but of self-respect. When she arrives late, he doesn't explode, he simply says, "Glad you're here. But next time, let's both try to be on time." Calm. Direct. Masculine. When she teases him too far, he doesn't shrink, he smiles and says. Careful. Playful. Confident. Controlled. When she makes an unreasonable request, he doesn't submit, he answers honestly. That doesn't work for me. No guilt. No excuses. His tone is steady. His posture relaxed. His presence unshaken. Because a boundary isn't about control, it's about self-leadership. Women feel a man's boundaries the way they feel his confidence. It's not what he says, it's the energy behind it. A Stoic man doesn't set boundaries to dominate her. He sets boundaries to define himself. To show that he operates from internal strength, not external approval. And something powerful happens when he does. She respects him more. She trusts him more. She becomes softer around him. She feels safer with him. Because a woman can only relax into a man she knows will not lose himself in her. So when she tests your boundaries, remember. She's not trying to control you. She's trying to see you. To see your strength. To see your self-respect. To see your leadership. To see whether you're a man who stands firm, or a man who folds. And the man who stands firm, calmly and confidently. That is the man she will choose every time. Conclusion. At the end of the day, a woman doesn't test you to play games. She tests you because she is wired to protect herself, her emotions, her time, her heart, her future. Every shift in her behavior, every moment of distance, every subtle challenge, every delayed reply, every boundary test, it all comes from the same instinct. Can this man hold himself together when life, love, and emotion become unpredictable? Because women know something men often forget. Anyone can act confident when everything is easy. But only a grounded man stays confident when things get uncomfortable. Her tests are not about dominance, they're about safety. Not about control, but about understanding you. Not about making you chase, but about seeing whether you are a man who leads himself. And this is where the Stoic man stands apart. He does not collapse when she pulls back. He does not chase when she slows down. He does not panic when she becomes distant. He does not lose his center when she challenges him. He does not fold when she pushes his boundaries. He remains the same man. Calm. Focused. Stable. Grounded. Confident without arrogance. Present without pressure. Because he knows that emotional steadiness is the one thing a woman can trust more than anything a man says. When you understand her tests, and respond not with fear, but with maturity, something powerful happens. She stops testing. Not because she no longer cares, but because she finally feels safe enough to stop protecting herself. And when a woman feels safe, her guard falls, her softness appears, and her love becomes effortless. Thank you for watching the whole video. I hope that today's sharing about love will bring you new perspectives and help you gain valuable lessons. If you find the video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and share it with your loved ones. I am very grateful for your companionship, and hope that each video will help you get closer to a happy and lasting love. See you in the next videos. Wish you a wonderful and inspired day.